Hi, welcome to the Global Grid Experience. This is a new podcast, and I'm absolutely thrilled you're here right out of the gate. Thank you. I'm Erica, your host. Today's guest is another kick-ass and inspiring person I wanted to share with you. I recorded this episode before I even had a podcast, but I love her grit and wanted to share her perspective as a teenager on climate action. Myiesha Antoni is an 18-year-old dual enrollment senior in high school and getting her associate's degree. Dang, girl. She's from Henning, Minnesota, and lobbied for climate action in DC with Citizens Climate Lobby. That's a big deal. Citizens Climate Lobby, or CCL, is a nonprofit, nonpartisan, grassroots advocacy climate change organization with nationwide and international chapters. So let's meet this awesome girl who has, like I said, a lot of grit. So, Myiesha, what concerns you about climate change?
For me, the biggest concern about climate change, obviously other than the fact that we have habitats degrading and causing climate to, shift and change, my biggest concern is the impact on humans. And is anyone. I mean, the air pollution, the air quality degrading affects everyone and everybody's lungs, no matter who you are, how old you are, or where you come from. And just other examples of that, I mean, just human health is my biggest concern. And since we know that there's ways we can do to help mitigate the effects of climate change, we know that there's ways to help improve human health.
And what are you hearing from others your age about the climate and its trajectory?
So a lot of people that I know that I've tried to speak climate change about, I feel have not quite seen the full picture. They know that maybe it exists or maybe it's a problem, but seems to have not quite really realized that it does affect you and I, and it's not just a distant thought or a distant issue for other people. And even if they are able to acknowledge that, I've seen that it's hard for people to know what to do because, oh, I don't see it affecting me right now, so why should I help, or what am I supposed to do about that kind of mentality. And to be fair, it's hard to get rid of that kind of culture because we haven't been taught the ins and outs of climate change at school. We don't sit and have these big discussions in science class about it. We've heard about it, brisked over the topic, and moved along, and so that doesn't help people and being able to frame their mindset around climate change either.
So why have you gotten into climate action? What got you into it, and why are you taking this adventure as a young person? Not adventure, this venture of climate activism. It's definitely not an adventure we want to be on.
Right. So it started when the spring of 10th grade, and me and all my friends were signing up for classes, and our counselor told us that we could start taking college classes as 11th graders. And a lot of my friends were definitely like, oh, I know exactly what class I'm going to do because this is my interest and this is what I know I want to major in and this is who I want to be when I grow up. And I was like, I don't know what I want to be. I don't know what I want to do yet. And that's okay. So I went out and the online quizzes, personality tests weren't helping. And so I talked to my librarian to see if she had any books about, different careers or fields that I could learn more about. And she asked me what my favorite subject in school was, and I said, science. That's easy. And so she showed me a bunch of these books that were a little bit more on the child level, but they were different categories and branches of science. And she started telling me that these books were donated through a organization called West Central Initiative, and they are pretty good about giving people volunteer opportunities or internships and scholarships and all those kinds of things. So I was able to connect with someone that works for West Central Initiative, and she had let me know that there was a volunteer opportunity nearby for the Earth Day, an Earth Day event. And while I was there volunteering, I was at the prairie wetlands, and so it's just a very beautiful area to be in. And there was so much information about the area and so many people there who cared for the area and the planet. And there was especially a group called CCL who was there tabling and, talking climate change and talking, well, this habitat might no longer remain if climate change persists. And so I said, I need to hop on board with you guys and help you guys figure this out. And so I signed up right there, and then I got the emails and started volunteering more with CCL. And so that's kind of where I'm at now. I've been to a regional conference with CCL, and I've done 7 lobby meetings with Congress so far and attended the national meeting.
Awesome. Tell us for listeners. I did have Beth Monkey on a recent podcast with Citizens Climate Lobby, just as the leader of our chapter in Fergus Falls. And so, tell me what Citizens Climate Lobby is to you.
Obviously, we know the basics. Citizens Climate Lobbies, this nonpartisan organization who works to help mitigate the effects of climate change at the level of policy work, which is why we talk with Congress. But not only that, we help ignite solutions by communicating with others and collaborating and spreading ideas and awareness, which is very important to me because where I'm from and where the youth of my area is, we don't have the awareness. We don't have the communication about that kind of thing. And so being able to be a part of an organization who works hard to do that, you can get those ideas out to others and help further kind of spread the message and make the message more important instead of just a select group of people knowing. And being able to work at the policy level helps, in my opinion, get things moving quicker because if if it is like a law, like if it's part of legislation, it's right there. Like it's not a suggestion, it's what needs to be done.
Oh man, you're an inspiring person. So, what are you particularly doing now for climate action? You're involved with Citizens Climate Lobby. Are there any other things that you're really passionate about doing?
Yeah, so I'm going to be a senior in high school, so I still have a little bit until college, but I do know when I go to college, I'd love to major in environmental science. And another thing that CCL has helped open my eyes to is different ways the environment can be helped. I mean, there's people part of the DNR who are there, there's researchers, there's the lawmakers, there's so many people who are a part of the change. And I've kind of fallen into loving that policy work and the lawmaking aspect of it. So maybe something like environmental policy or environmental lawyer would be something fit for me.
Oh my gosh. Kudos to you. We need more people like you out there.
Thank you.
Yes. So, why do you think others your age aren't taking action? You mentioned that they aren't. Do you think, is it just lack of knowledge? Is it like you had said in our conversation once, kids also just want to be kids, and that is true. And I've talked to elderly people and they're like, I already did this in the 60s. I just want to be old and retire and be at peace. But here I am, being an activist all over again. I don't want to do this. So what's your
Mhm.
young person's perspective on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a combination of lack of education and knowledge about the situation, but also truly the people who are aware, and even me sometimes, I just want to sit down and not look at it. I just want to go and, be a kid and forget about the struggles of the world, which isn't going to be the solution, but it sometimes just feels right. And it's hard to be against what feels right, because in the end, advocating for climate change isn't just advocating for me. It's advocating for those who can't and those who need it. I mean, it's not just a Minnesota issue. It's not just a United States issue. It's a global issue, meaning every single person on this planet is affected in some way, shape, or form. And so that gives me the motivation to speak up for those who don't have access to resources like I do. I mean, I'm sure not everyone is able to just get up and go talk to Congress and get up and go and make those big, loud decisions. And so being able to do that gives me motivation and hope, honestly.
And do you have some tips or advice you can give others your age to have hope, just like you said, and get involved and take action?
Yeah, so it is important, to not lose hope. And like I said, that's hard, when there's so many other things in the world that, make it difficult or that you'd rather be focused on, and that's okay. But I would say that if you need that motivation to get out there and do something and to not lose that hope, is just to think about the people, think about other people, think about the kids, the young kids who have to endure the consequences, the health consequences, or even just losing accessibility to certain things. Like, for example, a couple weeks ago, our town had a festival and a couple events were canceled because the air quality was just too bad for kids to be outside. And so I think about them, and I don't want that to be the normal. So my motivation and what I think other people should use as motivation or could use as motivation is to just think about the lesser than people, the other people.
This has been wonderful talking with you. Thank you for your time. Is there anything else that you wanted to share before we end today?
I just want to say that if I can do it, if I can be brave and, use my voice, I think a lot of other people can too.
And that was Myiesha from Henning, Minnesota. She's got grit, doesn't she? Thank you, Myiesha, and thank you for joining and being a part of the Global Grit Experience. I'm so grateful. I hope you're liking these episodes from different walks of life and perspectives. Thank you. Take care of yourselves out there. Hugs, my friends. Talk soon.